Welcome back, everybody. It's your favorite time of the week. That's right, opening break, episode number 5 with my man Hunter JJX. Hunter, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. I was chatting with you. I had a music video shoot yesterday, so it was a lot of fun. But today, my old body hurts. I mean, just been headbanging and throwing myself around all day long, and then now I come in here all creaky and rusted and busted. But I'm stoked and pumped to get into some Halo. How are you doing, man?
I'm good. It's funny. I feel like this is the second week in a row that we've talked about being old men and back problems and stuff like that. So maybe we didn't talk about it on the stream last time, but gosh,
not quite the spring chickens we used to be, right? I gotta schedule out now the damage I'm gonna do to my body. Like, okay, like this day is gonna be brutal or whatever, and I got a chiropractor appointment already booked for tomorrow. But yeah, other than that, dude, my next mainstream, I guess you could say, because I'm gonna try to sneak one in today, but my next stream is 1,000 days without cussing on stream.
Whew.
So that's a pretty cool milestone. Started, almost 3 years ago on this kind of journey, and just trying to like, be a positive space. Trying to be a good example for my kids because they're always popping in and out. But then also like, just wanting to keep the vibes up. I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna let video games make me act a fool. But don't get me wrong, I still end up acting a fool anyways. I just haven't said any bad words, any naughty words in almost 3 years on stream. So that's pretty cool. So be looking forward to that.
Yeah, meanwhile, I get on my stream. How the hell are y'all doing? Been a long time.
What the F is up, guys? Playlist check-in, though, dude. We got to talk because Sleep Token dropped another track, and this is now a Sleep Token podcast. So what were your thoughts, bro? What'd you think?
I love that they hyped everyone up to drop basically a slap in the face track at their fan base. It's like they got everyone so excited that this song was coming out. They teased it. They did all their normal marketing stuff. And then the song comes out and it's like this powerful, heavy weighted song about like, bro, fans are crazy and I hate y'all, but thank you for showing up.
Dude, and I've seen some like crazy TikToks come out of it already of like fans clapping back like, if you don't care about us, like just release music into the woods. Like, why are you putting it out there for everyone then? If you just want to make music for you, keep it to yourself. I'm like, you guys are crazy, dude. like let's just let artists be artists and not, that's always the weird thing about like that boundary, right? Like with celebrities, for the most part, they're pretty untouchable. There's like a clear boundary between celebrities and fans. Whereas like with bands, sometimes you come up with your fans and you get to a point and it's like, okay, do we now sever that communication? We've been connected up until this point, but now we're kind of too big, for all the problems that brings. Like, I don't quite understand. I don't know what the answer is, but like the content that's been coming out of it, I'm like, dude, this is like a full on, like people are having meltdowns. Like, it's like, is MJ back? Like, it's like Michael Jackson levels of like crazy psycho, like obsessed people. But to the song itself, that song just hit me right in my feels because it was like it's the beat of my people. It's got the island vibes throughout. It was funny because like for most music for a long time I was like, man, like I wish this was like heavier, or this song would have been sick if it had like a fatter breakdown or whatever. For that Sleep Token track, I was actually like, I think I would have been good if it never went into like the black metal stuff that happens. I was so vibey with like the reggae stuff. I was like, just keep me right here. Like I'm chilling. And then they just start melting in your face. But still, it was a sick track.
Fantastic song, fantastic band. And it's really interesting because that whole subject of that song, and I'm going to tie it to esports. I'm going to give myself a pat on the back for this segue.
Let's go.
The whole song is about that parasocial relationship that fans have with the artist, right? And I think we've seen that a lot, especially like in the streaming community. We've seen that a lot in like esports as a whole, where people are like, hey man, it's me, I gifted you like 600 subs, like you want to hang out all weekend. And it's like, how do you manage and navigate that conversation and that relationship of like, yeah, like I really appreciate you supporting me, but also like that doesn't just make you my best friend. Like I still have my life, I still have the things that I'm doing, I still have my circle. And like just because you're generous and you support my content doesn't mean like you're in that circle. But you also can't like, you don't want to be a rude and an asshole to them because they're clearly supporting you. You know what I mean? It's a really weird situation. And I think that song does like it's an interesting perspective for them where the whole thing is about their anonymity. Like, I think there's lyrics where he says like, you yell my name just to see if you can get a reaction. And it's like that sucks. And it's true. Like fans can be like amazing, but they can like, we talked about the green wall.
There's weird people.
It's just it like the green wall can like be super supportive, and then the minute you're Kenny and you drop a 0.3 one of like weekend or whatever, it's like he needs to go, he's the problem, he's the worst. Like, bro, that's a world championship player who still got gas in him.
And they were saying those things when they were struggling online too. It's like they hadn't even been to a LAN yet to defend their world championship crown. It's like, come on, let's be real. But I'm gonna play a little bit of devil's advocate to you on a little bit of that, because I agree to an extent, but I also think that there is a little bit, when we go back to like the streaming esports side of things, I think there is a little bit of there's a reflection on the creator there as well in that relationship. Because like for me, for example, when I have someone that's like gone way above and beyond in supporting the channel and gifting subs and all that, I feel at that point that it's on me to invest in getting to know that person and like building a real relationship with them, because I'm like, hey, if they feel like the content has blessed them enough to where they're now like throwing money at the stream and helping keep it going as well, the least I can do is be like, hey, like, where are you from? Like, what do you do for
Yeah.
work? How's your family doing? Like, what brings you joy and happiness? And like, you know, at least open the door in a sense to have a like to expand on the relationship, you know what I mean? And like I confidently can tell you right now in my life, like my inner circle, some of my closest friends are dudes that just started out watching the stream and hanging out, and then they started getting
Yeah.
subs, and then we started chatting, and then I like we invested in a relationship both ways, and now like I go to events and I got a squad with me, and that's way better than like the awkward interaction of like, oh hey, like I'm Banshee Rider 629, I've gifted you all these subs, and you've like never had a meaningful conversation with that person. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things that I actually take very seriously and try to be super intentional about, especially for folks that are trying to go way above and beyond like that.
Yeah, and I think that's a good mindset to have. I think the difference is there are some people who maybe that's not their goal. Like maybe their goal is just to create content and to build that community, but not necessarily be, you know, the best friend of all of their top donors or whatever. I think it's great that you do that, and I think it's like for me as well. Like I have a bunch, my close group of friends are all people I've met through gaming, through my stream, you know, so on. But I also think that it's not a right. Like just because I come in and I gift you 50 subs, I don't have the right to your attention.
Yeah.
I just am showing that I support you because I appreciate your content or whatever. And
I would agree with you on that for sure.
Yeah. And I think that's where the misconception is. Now, I do want to ask you before we start getting into Halo stuff. I love the whole anonymity thing of Sleep Token. Do you think that could ever be a thing in esports? Like you just get a goated roster, show up like wearing like, you know, the Green Man suits or something like that, like where you can see through them, show up like rocking those kind of things with like hoodies and you know, normal clothes on top, and just be completely like, don't talk to anybody, don't do any interviews, like you're just your click, you play your matches, you dominate your opponent, and then you dip out. Do you think that would work?
I'm not going to say that it's impossible. I'm just going to say it'd be extremely difficult, because I feel like, especially nowadays with how big esports is, like maybe back in the day, like for sure back in the day, you know, early MLG, all that were folk, because there was a lot of secrecy back then anyways. People are having secret LANs and like all that stuff. I think the trick would be like, you know, this better than anyone here between the two of us, like you got to kind of be in the circle to get the practice to be on the level. You know what I mean? So like, how do you build relationships and like showcase your talent and who you are to the point where you're going to get invited into those scrims without people knowing who you are? Does that make sense? Like that's where I think it would be tricky. I could see, you know, a fun way that it could work, because I want to find, I'm like, you know, like I said, it's not impossible. So I'm trying to find a way that it could work. A way it could work is if you took a team that was ridiculously talented. Like, let's say, dude, this right here. If you took Optic Halo right now, and you had them compete at a COD event, and you did that, I think you could pull it off.
Okay.
I think, like, I mean, minus like Formal, like, I feel like he's just like, it'd be hard to disguise Formal. I think like, you know, his play style, how great he is, all that, people are going to watch his screen and be like, that looks like Formal. But like, you know, I think if you took a talented roster from one scene to another and tried it, that would be a fun experiment. Maybe that's like a content plan we got to start. That's a whole show that we just cooked up.
Well, it's always cool to me because, like, again, I love the anonymity part of that whole thing. That's like a very alluring, you know, part of it all. But I think, let's see, what year was it? 2011 to 2012, I think. In League of Legends, the way that you kind of found your path to pro was basically through the in-game team ranked matches.
I do remember that.
There was like that ranked leaderboard. You had to grind like a full pre-made 5, and you only matched up against full pre-made 5s. And then you had like a team name in the client, and then you could climb that leaderboard based on how well you're doing. And sometime in that year, there was a team, I think their name was Roar, and they showed up, and it was like they all had this like matching clan tags, and nobody knew who they were. It was like completely like everyone was freaking out. Like there's this team that's 40-0. They took the #1 spot on that ladder, and they're going to qualify for like the challengers tournament to like hopefully earn themselves a spot going pro. And everyone was like, who are these people? Like, what? One, why are they beating up all of these teams that we know are really good? And two, like, who the heck are they? And then it came out, it was like a half import roster, half local talent that they were developing. But like the whole idea, I mean, like, it was the talking point of every conversation in the community for a solid several months as that ladder like finished its season and went to the challengers tournament, because everyone was trying to figure out who the heck are these guys. And then
I thought that you were gonna say. I thought you were gonna say it like they were a bunch of Smurfs, but it's even cooler that they were like a roster that was actually being put together.
Yeah,
that was kind of working their way up. It immediately made me think about the satisfaction of being anonymous and smurfing and stuff like that, because like it happens to me so often, because I mean I have like on Infinite I have probably 15 or 20 different Smurfs, just to be able to like play with community and stuff and not be crazy high ranked all the time. But like, I mean, I match up against like Why Not and stuff like on a regular basis on random names that he has no idea about. And I just like go to his stream and it's like the most hilarious satisfaction. Like, who is this guy? A 40 and 18 with a 70% accuracy. And you know what I mean? Like either he's cheating or he's a Smurf. And I'm just sitting there like, just like laughing. You know what I mean? Like there is like a certain satisfaction that comes out of like being like, oh, I know you, but you don't know who's doing this damage to you. You know what I mean? So like, I'm trying to think of like at a live event though, like are we going masks? Like how are the players going to see the screens? Like what? How? Like, I don't know how you'd pull off the anonymous thing in person, but
that's what I'm saying.
Would be fun.
Like you either need like ski masks, or you need like those green man suits, or like some sort of specialty mask that lets you see through clearly without like, you know, fully being recognizable. But and
then getting hot and sweaty and stuff too. Like, I mean,
it's cold in those venues. You're fine.
I think it'd be, you're actually right. It's a freaking icebox. But it would be amazing to try and pull off, or hilarious for sure. Maybe when Gears Esports comes back, we'll put together a Gears roster and we'll do the fully anonymous thing and try to pull it off. You know what I mean? And I think in like a fresh scene, it would be the easiest, like best time to try to do that.
Yeah, we can get the band back together, get Mental involved, just play on second accounts.
Hey, don't be listing who these players are. We know.
Yeah. I mean, we would
now you got to delete the rebroadcast. You got to delete the rebroadcast now. Already messed. People are going to come back and scrub all these videos to find out who our team is, bro. Like, come on.
All right, we've talked enough about other stuff. Let's go ahead and start into our first subject, which we honestly probably should have talked about last week. And this is going to be, I'm going to be interested in hearing your take, because this got a lot of controversy and a lot of negative feedback in the community. And that is the DreamHack Dallas format announcement. So I'm going to share screen so that we can look at this with everybody here. But yeah, this is a rough one. So, hi, Cycle. So the tournament, everyone's excited about. Yeah, right. Everyone's excited about DreamHack Dallas. That was a really fun event when we had it. What, last season before? I think it was 2 seasons ago, because I wasn't coaching. Was I coaching? I don't know. Anyways, we had a really good time at DreamHack. It's really
you were coaching.
Esports.
I think. I think
no,
I
was managing, because it was Monster on the team, and I never coached Monster.
Okay. That's your claim to fame.
So format, pool play for qualifying teams, open bracket, which all is the norm. It gets different when you see this sentence where we'll start with only 48 teams in the open bracket, and it's a double elim like normal, which is fine, but 48 teams, that's probably a little bit smaller, but okay, whatever. But there's only 2 pools. Normally there's 4 pools. This only has 2, and the pools are seeded as the HCS Arlington Major Champion and the runner-up get the first seed in both pools. Then you have the EU qualifier winner and the EU HCS points. So, you know, it's going to be Nemesis and Pippa. Basically have those spots, right? So then you have the NA online qualifier winner and then NA HCS points. So that's basically going to be, you know, the qualifier winner, which is going to be one of the not top 2 teams at Arlington, and then the highest team in points. So that's probably going to be one of the top 4 teams from Arlington. And then the team that comes out of the winner side of open bracket and the team that comes out of lower side of open bracket. So literally only 8 teams are in the bulk of this tournament. I want to hear your
Yeah. Okay. So I'm actually I'm glad you're going to go with me first, because I think that between the two of us, I actually do think we have pretty differing opinions on this, and I think yours is a little bit more with the majority, and I feel a little bit different. I think because I've seen the tweets, I've seen like Sparty and all the other folks that were pretty much, I mean, Piggy, like pros coming out and just like completely roasting this thing when it came out, and maybe it's just because I'm not an active competitor and stuff anymore. It doesn't bother me. It really doesn't. So, and the reason being is, it is differentiated as an open as opposed to a major, which I think is cool. I think it's a cool idea HCS is trying, where it's like we have these opens, we have these majors. Halo traditionally has always been open. So finding ways to still differentiate between event to event, even though they're all going to technically be open, and differentiating the scale and stuff of that, I think will make the majors will separate the majors in a way that makes them interesting. We'll keep every event interesting. The reason I really like this format, not really like, the reason why I am okay with this format and I'm stoked to check it out is back in the day at MLG, like every first event of the season, everybody went through open together. All the pros, all the open teams, and that was like a stage setter. But also, dude, some of the most ridiculously hype moments I've ever seen in my life are like top 8 pro teams getting knocked to losers by like a team they took for granted in a best of 3 series that came out and won 2 Slayers or something. You know what I mean? And ended up like knocking them down. And it leads to like these crazy storylines. And to me, it's like the size of the championship bracket doesn't really matter to me when the goal is winning the whole thing, right? Like for us, for example, for Complexity, like our goal as a partnered professional team is to win a major, is to hold a trophy, you know what I mean? Or multiple. And like, I think it's safe to say that's the case for all the teams in the top 8, 12, like they're all in a position where they're like, no, like we want to win, you know what I mean? Obviously for some, it's more realistic than others. And so in this format, it's not going to play out as different, I think, as people might think it will. It's just a bigger bracket going into it, and you will get a chance. And the folks that are trying to cut their teeth in open will get a shot at the pros that are normally untouchable to them. Like normally, like, and I understand, like, there's two sides of the mentality. There are the ones where it's like, dang, dude, like I played Optic first round, that sucks. Obviously, I get that. But there's also like the teams that are like chomping at the bit. You know what I mean? You look at teams like Ascending Baseline, Sniping Lies, like these teams are like, we just want a chance to show people that like we can hang. You know what I mean? They're going to get that. And like, I hope that for at least one of these teams, they'll have that Cinderella story, that breakthrough moment where they cause a crazy upset. And all of a sudden we have more storylines to talk about. So that's why for me, personally, I don't actually mind it as much as I would say probably 100% of the scene. I think I'm probably the only person that has the opinion that I'm like, it's fine. It's not a big deal.
Okay, so I hear what you're saying, and I get that perspective. And honestly, if it was like you were saying with old school MLG first event of the season, everybody's an open bracket, I think that would be, I would see still the community complaining about it, but I think that would be really cool. And I also agree with, like, I've always been of the mindset, and my tweet when this announcement came out was, you know, it's disappointing, but you got to beat everybody to win the event. So it is what it is kind of thing. That being said, there's a few kind of more standout things that I have an issue with. I don't agree with how currently we have 4 pools, 12 teams automatically in pools, 4 teams come from open bracket. And 2 of those pool play spots are dedicated to EU, right? That's like the current ratio. 2 out of the 12 is EU.
Yeah.
We then cut that down to 8 slots instead of 12.
And still give them 2.
And we still give EU 2.
Yeah.
And like, don't get me wrong, Nemesis is a fantastic team. We'll touch on that in a little bit too.
Yeah.
And Pippa or what Pipa, whatever, they're also a really good team. But like, let's just say in a hypothetical world, Nemesis gets top 2. They take one of these spots. Now you have Pipa probably winning the EU online qualifier. Can you even name one player on the 3rd place team in Europe?
Yeah. No, I think it's like Moe's in them. I think.
Maybe.
I think it's Moe's.
But like you
Yeah.
like it just like
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
obviously like as a region it would be awesome if they can finish top 2 at a major, one of the, like Nemesis or Pipa, and earn themselves another spot. But like I just don't agree with that ratio staying this or
I
like
would
changing.
I would 100% agree with you because you're essentially gifting those two teams top 8.
Yeah. Yeah.
That to me would be like the point where I'm like, guys, we should have maybe like rethought this aspect of it. Like or even I would have rather them just wait to see how the top 8 shakes out from Arlington and just be like, those are the teams waiting in pool, or the top 6 or whatever, and just be like, those are the teams waiting in pools. The other 2 spots will come from open. You know what I mean? I feel like that would have been better. So I would 100% agree with you in terms of that. Like that was actually what pretty much my only complaint was, like gifting. I love international Halo, and I've got friends, like really close friends from pretty much every region in the scene, that I'm rooting for. But for the longest time, there's always been that friction, like that tension with NA, where it's like, why are we just like gifting these people, like, like stuff that, Joe Schmo is grinding for his whole life, in NA is just like kind of being handed to some of these teams in like regions that aren't as strong, I guess would be like the nice way to put it, And like you said, it's nothing to take away from the EU squads that have earned those spots, but just being gifted top 8 at a NA LAN is pretty that's pretty drastic.
I would even be less upset if they decided, hey, since this is kind of like we're doing something different here, let's give Europe online qualifier winner a spot, and then let's give LATAM a spot. Like I would even be okay with that, because then it's like, okay, LATAM normally doesn't get a spot in majors, which I don't understand that either, but whatever. And we at least like it's a little bit more fair. Like right now it just feels like NA kind of got screwed over a little bit. LATAM's still getting screwed over.
Yeah.
And EU is like, yeah, whatever. Like we still get our top 8. So
that format came out and they were stoked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
literally
they're pumped. Like if I'm on one of those teams, I'm like, yeah, thank you HCS. You know what I mean?
So it's just it's weird to me. And then putting so much on online Halo, because online Halo, there's connections and hit registration and all those kind of issues, and like right now we use the opens and stuff to qualify for pool play or whatnot, but one online open qualifier or whatever they're calling it, the online qualifier, like that isn't enough. That's like, bro, like what happens if like your internet goes out like day 2 of that tournament? Like
you're one tech difficulty away from the entire freaking pools being screwed up,
from being open bracket. And then I'm assuming I haven't actually checked, but I'm assuming that open bracket will be best of 3s until the final stuff, which is how it normally is for open brackets at majors. I can't imagine they would make it larger for this event. I'm like scrolling through the rules here quickly to see. Double elimination, best of 3, with the exception of the matches that result in qualification to championship bracket. So yeah, it's best of 3s. Like it just it's wrong with me, man. It's wrong with me.
As someone watching, I couldn't be happier. Because back in the day, dude, and I'm gonna be a boomer, like, and I'm gonna say back in the day, which everyone hates to hear. Back in the day, if you wanted to be like, if you were gonna make waves in open as a team that's not set in a pro spot, you had to get real good at best of 3s and real good at split screen. Like you had to cut your teeth on like, I am going to put in the time. And like, I will literally say, Nick, there were events in my life that I've played when I was younger where I was better on split screen than I was in full screen, because everybody else was so much worse on split screen. And I had spent so much time in my life playing split screen. I would get on split screen and just be feeling like I was right at home. You know what I mean? And I was just like be doing whatever I want. And they're like, they're looking the wrong way. I'm hitting flanks and routes, and they're like just lost their hearing double audio because they're like, like audio splitter. They're hearing their other teammates scream. Like I was big brain. I turned the game sound off. I had voice comms only. So I'm running around split screen, perfect awareness, just going off comms. Like, and there was like a skill set to that. You know what I mean? And there was like there was a team in Reach, Cloud 10 is what they were called. They were from Arizona. They were 4 cats from Arizona, and they literally got their start because they would just like beat a super high seed on split screen every time because they were split screening with each other every weekend, like for fun. You know what I mean? Like I remember the Suds one event, Sud off 1 and 2. They practiced split screen super hard. They blew through split screen, got to full screen, and stayed split screen. Like like just stuff that you're like, well, what? And so for this, like obviously there's no split screen happening, but similarly with best of 3, it's like if you claim to be the best, then you should be able to thrive in any situation, regardless if you're playing a lesser opponent, if you're ready to go, right? Like it should now you just now have no margin for error. And if you're a professional team, you should be able to turn it on like with the flick of a switch and be like max intensity, max awareness and being locked in for a quick series, and I really do think that there's going to be at least 1 or 2 matches that are going to be like the story of the weekend, and they're going to be a best of 3 like on that Friday.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you look at it, like partner teams are still getting funding even if they're an open bracket. So let's just say, you only have 4 out of the 6 or 8 partner teams in pool play, like best case scenario, then you've still got like 4 juggernauts down there in open bracket that are going to match up against each other at some point, right? Like not counting the fact that I imagine the LATAM team's going to be there. I imagine teams like Eclipse are going to be there. I imagine teams like Sniping Lies and Ascending Baseline and like all of these guys who are like, I mean, open bracket, no offense to some of those teams, like they get that rep every single event. They know how to fight their way out of the passion pits. And I could see a team getting caught off guard.
That's literally the one event this year that I think I'm going to play at for fun. Like I'm just going to put together a squad of like all shooters, like people with no brains, just really good shots. And I'm going to be like, give us all the best of 3s. Like who knows what'll happen? Like I'll have fun with some best of 3s and just like mess with it. I think about our team, and this is an impossible situation because Optic is obviously going to be in those pools. I would imagine, barring a crazy disaster, they will be in that pool. But give us Optic in a best of 3. Like I want that smoke. You know what I mean? Like give like if you're a team that's like trying to claw up on a team that on paper or whatever, even in the seedings is a higher seed than you want that team in a best of 3 because you can come out real hot and that series be done in an instant with a Slayer game 2 and an objective game 1. You know what I mean? So like for us where it's like we complexity, like we want the upsets, we want to make waves. I say bring on the best of 3s. Like with someone like Sparty on the team, like give me a break, dude. Like we're gonna be cruising through that bracket.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather us be in pool play, but we'll see when we get there. It's just this is definitely a decision that I think caught a lot of people off guard because it's so starkly different from what normally happens at HCS events. It's a good point that you said it's an open and not a major, and they were very clear about like calling it an open. I think a lot of people, and myself included, honestly got confused because it was, I guess, all the events are technically open events since there are open brackets.
Exactly. I was super confused too. Yeah.
The prize pool being smaller, everything, else being smaller. And maybe there's some constraints from DreamHack or something that we don't know about. That's why I'm trying not to like jump too much on the HCS team and be like some of the people who are like, oh my gosh, what are they doing? Blah, blah, blah. I think there's probably some outside factors, whether it's funding, whether it's budgets, whether it's DreamHack saying, hey, we only have this much space or this much time or this many power outlets or like whatever the case may be. I think probably something of like that played an effect into why this was coming the way it is. And at least we still get to be at DreamHack, and there's going to be COD there, and there's going to be, CS there, and there's going to be probably Collegiate Rocket League and all these other things. So I just hope, despite the disappointing format to a majority of the community, that we still have some exciting matches and we show up as a community and show everyone else like, hey, we might be one of the smaller, relative esports to everyone else in this arena, this convention center, whatever you want to call it. But like we turn up.
I'm gonna make a bold prediction right now, and we can come back to this video. We can clip this. We can do whatever. You can use as ammunition to roast me, chat, in a couple months' time or not. But I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna predict we will have more hype lit matches at that DreamHack Dallas event than we do in Arlington. I think there will be more matches that are like, holy crap, I can't believe I just watched that. That was so sick.
Especially if we can
Yeah.
see the open bracket matches. Like if LVT is allowed to go and stream open bracket, or if HCS sets up some sort of stream for open bracket,
Mm-hmm.
I think that is where the hype is going to be. Like pool play is just going to be
Yeah.
your top 8 doing pools, right? Like
Exactly. Yeah.
that's a wash to me. Like that'll be the same. But yeah, Passion Pit, like those,
Yeah.
not even the qualifying round, but the round before. Like
I'd say the 2 rounds before the qualifying rounds, when those like top 16 seeds start matching each other in open, it's going to be like bloodbath levels, you know?
That's what
So,
I'm excited for. I mean,
yeah.
again, I want to be in pool and I want to be able to watch it from afar, but like I'm excited to see it whether we're in it or we're watching it, you know?
100%. But that actually brings me into a pretty good segue here to where we're going to go, because the top 4 spots are more important than ever before when you look at that DreamHack sort of format. And for a couple of weeks now, I think, Nick, you and I have both been saying that FaZe is looking more and more like they've kind of like shut the door. They're shutting the door, locking in that 4th spot in the top 4. However, we saw some interesting scrim results this last week with them specifically. I don't know if you wanted to get us rolling, but yeah, things have been getting kind of heated in the scrim world.
Yeah, since we don't have any opens or anything to cover, obviously scrims are a different beast in a tournament, and online Halo is a different beast in LAN. So, we talked about the case on LAN and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think what we saw at the case on LAN, where FaZe only got 2 maps against other top 4 teams, is kind of what I think is going to be what we expect out of that team. Like,
really? Okay.
I don't see them being a consistent top 4 team. I think they're one of those teams that, like, if they're firing on all cylinders, yeah, they can be a top 4 team. They can even take SSG down. They can maybe give Optic a run for their money. But like, we just scrimmed them for the first time last week, and again, it's a scrim, and we 6-5. I think there was like a tie in there as well, and one of the maps that gave them as a win was a map that didn't finish. But when we were watching them, and like I get to actually like look at and analyze how they're playing and how we're playing against them, I wasn't impressed the same way I'm impressed when we play Optic or when we play Shopify. I wasn't.
You don't think Trippy's him?
It's not about any individual player. It's about just how they looked like they didn't quite know how they wanted to play the maps.
Okay.
And maybe that's just because they're a younger team. I mean, 2 of them have experience together, so you would think like they would come in and be like, "Hey guys, we got top 2 all of last season. Here's what we need you Suppressed and you Falcated to do. Like, here's how you're going to fill formal shoes. Here's how you're going to fill lucid shoes. All right, let's go be a top 2 team." But it wasn't like, they don't look like that. I think they have glimpses of that again when they're firing on all cylinders, but the way esports is, the way Halo is at this point, like any team can be that if they're firing on all cylinders. Hell, LG can be that if they're firing on all cylinders, right?
I think you're underselling a little bit though, like how great some of those guys are. I really do. I think like for a Penguin, for a Trippy, for a Falcated, and even for a Suppressed, I'm going to say for all those guys, I think their baseline is pretty freaking solid. Like, those guys aren't ever going to come out and like completely crap the bed and misfire. You know what I mean? And like for I mean, dude, say what you want to say. Like, Optic got second every event last season, and Penguin was a huge reason why it wasn't worse. You know what I mean? Like, that dude, every single event was just like, holy crap. And it was always so funny to me because online people are always like, drop Dead Zone sucks, I'm like, he lives on the West Coast. He's the only West Coast pro left in the whole scene, playing on 90 ping from Washington. Like, just shut your mouth and wait for LAN. And every LAN he was like dominating, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, literally playing incredible Halo. And like I was saying before, with Trippy kind of being in a role he's a lot more comfortable and familiar with, where he just can just dominate the map and slay and not worry about having to be cleanup crew or objective guy or whatever. He can just do whatever he needs to do, whether it be slaying or getting objective or supporting or big picture stuff. Like, he's been thriving on this team, dude. Like, I feel like if we had stats for his last match with Optic versus his first match with FaZe would be like a night and day difference in terms of like where his stats are at, how he's thriving on the map. And so while I do think that they're beatable, obviously, and we've seen that, you brought up the fact that they only won 2 maps at the Kason event. I still have to bring up the point that they were 2 plays away from 3-0ing Optic, you know what I mean? Which is, the series score and the game score doesn't really say a lot. And they are going to be a team that's going to be heavily matchup oriented. Like they're going to match up really good against some of these other teams, and they're going to match up really poorly against some of these other teams. I think they match up great against Optic. Who matches up well against Shopify at this point? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think we match up pretty good against them, which I mean, we have it right here on the screen, right? It was a 6. We had a 6-5 scrim against them over this last week, which I know you alluded to a little bit when you said you weren't seeing what you were expecting, but not to go too deep into it, because obviously this is like getting into your work and the secrecy that comes with building a roster that can win and what it takes to win games at the highest level. But could you give folks like a baseline, like a vague description of why you felt like how you felt in terms of their presence on the map?
Well, I think, and I'll pull up our scrim just to kind of show the stats. And like, again, it was 6-5. There was a tie. A lot of the maps are really close. Like Recharge was close. Live Fire Strongholds was close. That one actually was kind of crazy.
Hey, shout out to Fortress Bomb. Who would guess that would tie?
Yeah, right? Shocker. A lot of these were close, and this is the one, like Recharge Oddball didn't finish, but it gave them the win. So you look at the stats, they outslayed us by 40. I'm not mental mathing well, but a lot.
I mean,
right?
Trippy's the most positive person on their team. Just side note, what I was talking about. He's freaking absolutely slaying out.
And Penguin did the most damage, like in almost the entire lobby outside of Precision. But like, they outslayed us by that much, but lost in maps. We didn't play any Slayers. They lost in maps. And what I noticed was like, they are good at running around and getting kills. They're like okay, I like the guys on that team. I Donnie's former Complexity, so this is not a dig at them at all. But as a team, they are a great value version of Shopify.
That is so disrespectful.
The reason, okay, let me defend myself here. The reason I say that is because Shopify is really good at slaying. They're really good at managing spawns. They're really good at controlling the map, and they're really objective efficient while doing that, right? And we saw like last season, FaZe was really good about running around, getting kills, getting the map in the perfect situation that they wanted it, so then they could worry about the objective. That's why like their games, like you rarely ever saw their King of the Hill games go, 4 hills capped. It was like 2-0 and time ran out. Because they were so control heavy. This FaZe team is just wanting to play Slayer, and it's like, we 4-deaded them. Where are they spawning? Let's go do this. Okay, let's go do this. Oh shit, there's a ball. And it's like that's how it felt watching the scrim. And I don't want to. I'm not trying to be mean or
I see where you're coming from
toward that team. But
I see where you're coming from.
It just like they weren't sure how to translate the control that they would get on the map into objective efficiency. Other than, I will say, their whatever the bomb mode is called. I'm just gonna call it bomb mode. Like their bomb mode is good. They're good at that, like controlling the map and then using that to progress the ball forward. And you can kind of apply that to CTF. They were decent at the CTFs. But like even this Origin 2-0 CTF on us, like that, if you go back and watch it, like it was ugly. Like it was just on both sides, right? And like our team did a VOD review on that map specifically, but like it was just like neither team played that map well. It's just they made a few less mistakes than we did, and they got a cap off of it. And then like with 30 seconds left, they got a pull, and we just stopped playing, and they capped it, right? But like,
I'm gonna ask you a question then. I'm gonna dig at you a little bit here for some
go for it.
So if that's the case, like it correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to just put words in your mouth. It sounds like you're saying they're a little sloppy.
Yeah,
like a little inefficient, a little sloppy. Objectively, yeah.
Focused.
And we're only scrimming objectives, right? We're not scrimming Slayers. So my question is, why was the series still 6-5 then? Why wasn't it 7-3 or 8-2 or 8-3 or or 9-2. You know what I mean? Like if that's the case, if they're that sloppy, like why didn't we dominate the scrim? Why was it still so close?
I will counter that in saying, why is this team that is, former world champions, former Silver Surfers of the entirety of last season, why are they losing a scrim 6-5? And really it was 6-4 with a tie.
Yeah, I literally have an answer for that. So the reason why, in my opinion, like when I look at this scrim here, it's not so much about what FaZe's floor is and like what they're capable of not doing. To me, it was more about our ceiling. To me, it shows that like, this is a team that, in my opinion, is still like the fourth best team. And I've told the world, like, I think that we could be a top 4 team when we're playing our best. And I think like scrims like this are like, yeah, like it's not like we're not getting blown out by the fourth best team. We've shown that we can hang and or win games and and play at the level. And we've had a pretty good week of scrims looking like that, you know what I mean, and showing signs of improvement. So to me, I don't take this scrim as a dig at FaZe. I take it as like, yo, good job, Nick and squad. Like you guys are putting the work and you're showing that you can be where you need to be, because this is one of those teams that I feel like is a doorway into that top 4. And if we want to get in there and have a real shot at a title, we got to be able to get through teams like FaZe.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And again, like everything I'm saying is from a like, here's what I observed in my personal opinion. I still think FaZe is a good team, and if any of the players from that team are watching, like you guys are all still really, really fantastic players. I am just relaying what I saw in, I guess, the best way possible that doesn't like start breaking down flaws that I want to capitalize on later.
Exactly.
I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah,
it's the old it's the old like basketball coach, whenever like they ask him like, how do you feel like your team is doing, what do you need to implement in order to do better in the second half, and the coach is always like, play harder, we need more energy. Like they're not going to tell you, they're not going to break down like, we need on that screenplay, we need him to drop, like they're not going to go into
they're leaving
their
corners open, so we're going to start using that in the second half.
You know what I mean? Like it's always like the most vague garbage you ever heard.
and like I just, it was our first time matching up against them. Like this is our first time playing this FaZe roster ever. We've never scrimmed them. Yeah, we've never scrimmed them. We've never matched up against them in any of the opens or the qualifiers. So both sides were going into this a little raw, and it could be a factor of like they were looking at us as like, hey, this is a top 12 team and we're going to scrim them and we'll do our thing.
Can I see the overall player stats one more time? The overall KDs? Yeah, okay, that right there. I realized I didn't even look at our guys on that one. Yeah, I mean, we were outslayed in that series and came out ahead, which, like you said, speaks to inefficiency, a little bit of slop there in the OBJs.
I think it was 46. They outslayed us by 46 kills, and it's like we were much.
That's
more
still pretty close. That's still really close though. Like over a 11 game series, like I would say margin for error is probably anywhere 0 to 50 kills in a scrim of that length. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it wasn't
pretty even.
It's more just weird seeing that number, knowing that you were up in maps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, and we out damaged them. We just didn't clean up as well, which maybe that means they play their lives better than we did, and maybe that leads to like them getting some of those maps. But
you did mention to me before, and I don't think we should dive into this series in particular because of time, but you mentioned to me before that FaZe also had like a split series with Luminosity, was it?
It was
that they had
with Cloud9. I'll switch that because I have that tab open. And I mean, we know that Cloud9 is a team that they're very similar to us. Like this is a team that's going to cause upsets. This is a team that could be easily breaking into the top 4 or easily finishing top 12.
You think easily? You think they could easily be breaking in the top 4? I think go ahead.
I was going to say, without Boo Boo Doo, they should have sent the champions of Salt Lake City home. They choked. Like everybody knows it. Yeah. They choked. And that's what we've like. It's still the same core. It's just Boo Boo instead of Suspector. So it's like,
but they don't win Salt Lake City if they send them home. That's the thing. You know what I mean? Like,
no, but do they get top 4?
I don't know. I don't think so.
They would have eliminated the top dogs, and that, like, the high of eliminating the best team, like that can take you places.
It can. We've seen it with Cloud9 before. Like they kind of flame out in the top 6, which is nothing to scoff at, nothing to talk down on at all. But I just haven't seen that combination of players be able to go beyond that. You know what I mean? And they are a team that can get hot and get hype, but I haven't seen, like, maybe Boo Boo is the piece they needed, like someone that can like be level for the entire weekend, because these are long tournament weekends, right? These are lots of matches you got to play. You got to be able to be level hour after hour, match after match after match, and like I just haven't seen it out of that squad. However, I think that they're a lock for, you know, oh my gosh, is that 250 to 1?
That's a 250 to 1. Okay. Never mind. I take back what I said.
You know, like they're a great squad. But yeah, I just think it's so competitive in the top 4, in the top 6, in the top 8. Yeah. Like I think their ceiling, maybe they sneak out of top 4, you know, maybe Manny digs deep and gets back to that top 4 position that he was in the Halo 5, you know, stuff. But they're not, like, I'm not betting any money on Cloud9 in placing that high. Like if you were going to say like, hey, over under Cloud9 top 6, I might take that. Over under Cloud9 top 8, I for sure would take that. But top 4, we just haven't seen that roster, like, you know, break into that yet.
And something interesting here real quick before we move on. Again, another outslayed by, you know, 50-ish kills, but even in maps. And honestly, 2 of the maps phase 1 were the only 2 Slayers they played. Yeah. So
the phase is ridiculous talent, dude. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's what we talk about, you know?
They're winning the kills. They're winning the slays in the scrim we looked at against us, in the scrim against Cloud9, and somehow still tying or falling short in the overall map count. And it's like,
I will say it's a lot. Go ahead. It's a lot easier for a team to go from that to figuring out how to win games than the opposite. Right?
Maybe.
I think it's a lot easier for a team like that has that much more slay power, that much more on paper control the map, right? You would say like, if you're getting more kills than the other team, you should probably have more control on the map. I think it's easier for a team like that to then you know, put some pieces together and become more efficient and dominate than if they were getting outside all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that's something that our team had weeks ago. We're kind of evolving past that point, but it's something that we had issues with, where we could do a really good job of slaying them, and if we were on point, we could do a good job of controlling spawns and kind of cycling them as we wanted to, not FaZe, but whoever. And then we would have no ball time, or we would only have 3 ticks in the hill, or, you know, whatever it was. And the problem was our team was all so focused on like running out and killing and helping each other, because they all kind of have that play style. And nobody was like, all right, my ball, you guys go.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to ditch that fight. Sometimes you have to be like, okay, 2 of my teammates already double teaming that one guy. I'm not going to help in that. I'm just going to grab this ball real quick. Or I'm just going to take a quick route to the flag. You know what I mean? But when you're all wired like to be great teammates and always help, like, overhelping is a thing. Like, if you got 3 people in a 3v2 fight, do you really need the 4th guy? Would it be more efficient for you to take a route, getting deeper into the map, setting yourself up for the next play? Like, this is all stuff that factors in for sure.
Absolutely. So I think it's a thing that a lot of teams will work on fixing, and we'll see that grow for every team, for our team, for FaZe, for whoever, where that objective mindset starts getting implemented more. I don't know if FaZe has a coach. I mean, Tusk was standing behind them at the Kson event, apparently. I, again, didn't watch it, so I didn't know, but if he's coaching them, then maybe that helps, you know, like, bring in another mindset that's like, all right, this is Donnie's ball, or all right, this is Falcated's ball, or like whatever the case may be. But it'll be interesting to see how that goes on. Interesting, though, we have another scrim that you wanted to talk about.
The main event.
That was
this is the main event.
Your main event, and that is
my main event. This is our main event. This is our show. Actually, this is your show. This is your main event.
My main event is all complexity. But
this
is your main event.
This is my main event for a number of reasons. This is the first time that Space Station and Optic have scrimmed. So they've been dip, dive, duck, dodge, weaving away from each other from this sort of clash for a while now. 9-7 Optic Space Station. I saw some tweets coming out. I saw a tweet from Rob the Turtle, I think it was today or yesterday, where he was like, Space Station starting to look like they're figuring things out, starting to click a little bit. You know, no better time to do that than these weeks leading into the first major. But yeah, walk me through what you see initially taking a look at these stats.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing dead even on kills.
Is it really dead?
Yep, 1151.
Bro, that's
Perfectly
nuts.
even.
Yeah.
With Space Station dealing more damage, which means Optic
A
was doing a
5
slightly better
assist
job playing their
difference?
lives.
Is that all it was?
Yeah, 5 assist difference. I'm seeing Stellar stand out in the entire lobby, as in he had the scrim of the century because he's what, 44 kills above the second highest person in Renegade,
Mm-hmm.
101,000 damage. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so Stellar tweaked and they lose the scrim 9-7, but they're barking back. Let's see, they scrimmed 2 Slayers, they took 1, lost 1. Fortress Flag 3-0. We know Space Station's really good at Fortress Flag unless they play us. Had to get that in there. They won the series, so I understand.
Here's one thing of note to me when I look at this lobby. I see 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 5 people in that lobby where I could say on any given day, if you tell me that player is the best player in the game, I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'm not gonna debate you on that. And Stellar is one of those guys. And we've seen Stellar, MVP Stellar, what that looks like. We've seen him literally be untouchable on LAN in grand finals. Whatever he wants to do, he's doing on the map. And I feel like in all the chaos, excitement of Optic putting together this roster, like people forgot the fact that Stellar is still on Space Station and he's now with Lucid, who is another one of those players where I'm like, yeah, he's probably the best player in the whole game. And to me, I always viewed SSG as going to be a slow burn, right? And when you look at a 9-7 scrim, you can, like you pointed out, like he popped off and they lost the scrim. Okay, but I also look at the fact that Optic has 3-0'd them how many times now in opens, or you know what I mean? So to go from getting swept all the time to almost, one game off of tying a series against, the second best team in the league right now, I think that for Space Station, it just shows signs of improvement. I think that at that level, they're not really concerned with whether or not they win the scrim or not. They're looking for moments, right? And so they're coming away from this with a lot of moments that they're going to be able to learn from, review, go over, improve even more. And so I'm still putting my money down. Like, I still see Space Station winning at least one event this year. I really do think that they win one. My initial prediction when the rosters first came out, before anyone had played, I was like, Space Station wins 1, Shopify wins 1, Optic wins 2. I think I would adjust it now because I don't think Shopify is gonna let Optic win 2 events this year. But I still have Space Station winning at least 1. There's at least one event where it's gonna all be clicking. They're all gonna be playing at the level that they can, near their ceiling, and they're gonna win a nail biter of an event, and like it's gonna be sick. Like, that's my prediction.
I can see that happening. I don't think it's like as guaranteed as you make it sound. I don't think Space Station is. I think they have a long road ahead of them to get to that event win. Like, it might be like the Salt Lake City event, right? Like later in the season, they found their groove, hometown advantage, crowd advantage, and they can like utilize all of that energy to really fire off on all cylinders. But I mean, and really, like, this whole scrim looked really close. Like, the live fire is a little bit more convincing than some of the other maps in Optic's favor, but then the recharge is a little bit more convincing in Space Station's favor than some of the other maps. Most of the other maps are really close, and I think it's definitely an improvement for Space Station compared to what we've seen in, other series. Like you said, the opens, like, they're constantly losing, but I don't know. It's like, it's partially impressive. I mean, we haven't done that against Optic, right? So, like, I'm speaking from that perspective. Still, I'm not thoroughly impressed by it. Like, I don't know if this was a one-off because Stellar played so dang well. Like, if there's that large of an anomaly when you look at this,
it's not an anomaly for him though. Like, if Stellar goes off and is the best player in the lobby, I don't think that is like a shocking thing. I think I've seen that happen too many times to be like, that was just a one-off. He had a great series. You know what I mean? I've seen it happen too much.
I think he will constantly be like the leader on that team in terms of like scoreboard. I'm saying in terms of like Bro, 366 kills. That's almost 100 more kills than the second person.
He's 120 kills ahead of Snakebite.
like that's not like, that's why I'm saying that's an anomaly. Like Stellar, like he popped off in this scrim compared to everybody else in the lobby minus Renegade, and even over John, he has 40 some kills, 43 kills. And I'm looking like just quickly, like against Cloud9, they won the scrim 11-2. But he only had 287 kills. The next highest in the lobby was 243, right? Like, he's still leading the pack. Don't get me wrong. But 100 kill diff? Like, over somebody else on his team?
Here's my counter to that. Here's my counter to that, though. I don't see Snakebite bottom fragging on a team every scrim by over 100 kills being -30 in a series. Like, I would say that's probably one of PJ's worst stat lines in recent memory. And so it's like, yeah, we can talk all we want about Spinner absolutely Stellar popping off and going ballistic, but I'm looking at the others and like, you know, I'm seeing Lucid being negative in that series, which is like not the norm for him. And then like Snakebite's performance, like I said, I could easily see both of them playing more up to their personal standards and their expectations for themselves, and that countering Stellar maybe having 300 kills instead of 360. Does that make sense? Like I can find you 60 more kills in the rest of that roster for times where Stellar is not like being like, you know, SS Jesus basically.
I think the kill counts on the other three players, maybe not the KD, but the kill count on the other three players is about on par with what I normally see out of them in scrims. Stellar's is an anomaly. Like Stellar's is like when you're in high school statistics class and you see that one dot on like the line graph that's like way out there and you have to learn like all of that crap about that. Like that's Stellar in this scrim. Like this is not he's not going to drop 366 kills or that equivalent in every single best of 5 they play in pool play. I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen. You cannot rely on one player to pop off like that consistently and let that be your key to success. It's just not realistic. You need the other players to either step up or you need to figure out how to just like you need the other players to step up. There's no other how to.
Yeah, well here's where I would agree with you. Your game plan can't be we're going to ride this guy, right? Like your game plan can't be that, right? But where I would disagree with you is, like I said, it's not out of the realm of expectation where Stellar could have a whole weekend just doing that because we've already seen him do it. But I will say, why don't we look at their last full scrim before or after this, and let's compare and contrast a little bit. Let's take a little gander here, because I don't see Snakebite. Yeah, I just that stood out to me more than Stellar going ballistic is Snakebite being at the bottom by that much and being that far out of the mix with a 0.89. Okay, go ahead.
I'll show they scrimmed Shopify like a week ago, so I'll show that one.
Oh my gosh, that's gonna be.
And then the other one is Cloud9. So Shopify scrim, they're Stellar not popping off, and they lose the scrim 10-4, which still 4 maps against Shopify, impressive. Okay, first map doesn't count as much, and they barely won it. Solitude, okay. But like here we like it's the same rough range of kills for everyone else on the team. It's just you don't have Stellar. Stellar's 111 kills short of what he was against Optic. And that's the difference maker here.
Yeah, but you also pulled up a Shopify scrim, which is like everybody's getting blended by them right now.
Sure.
Everybody's getting blended by that team.
Data Hive doesn't want to work. There we go. Okay, so we'll go back to their other scrim against Cloud9, right? Because that's the only other they're scrimming phase right now, so we can tune into or we can jump on that after.
Yeah.
So 287. He's the highest in the lobby. Sure, they win the scrim 11-2. So like pretty
dominant. Yeah, pretty dominant scrim. It's hard to tell, dude. Like outside of them scrimming like phase or Shopify, we don't really have a lot to look at. Like you said, they're scrimming phase right now. I think that we are seeing like Space Station is not anywhere near final form yet, right? But they finally have access in the sense that like a lot of these top teams are finally deciding to scrim each other, which they weren't for a while. And I think that benefits Space Station more than any other team in the top 4. Like if I was the other 3, if I was FaZe, Optic, and Shopify, I'm like I would just make a pact. We're not scrimming them. Y'all don't scrim them either. Let's leave them where they're at, you know what I mean? But the fact that they have been getting these scrims now, they have been getting a feel for Optic, like because the thing with Space Station is like they're gonna beat teams the other 3 in the top 4, they're going to beat them based off of game planning specifically for each team. It's very systematic. It's very put together. And so the more chances they have to play these teams, the more opportunities they have to like formulate their plan. They're not just going to optic run and gun you over in every series, or Shopify where they just overpower you with their talent. They're a team that's specifically game planning for each squad. And so they benefit the most from the scrims, in my opinion.
Yeah. And also, I want to point out, FaZe is down 20, probably less than that, kills in this scrim, but they're winning objectives. So, hey, maybe they heard us.
Yeah. I mean, it changes day to day, dude. I mean, one day we're getting top 6, the next we're getting top 12, man. Like, come on. You know what I mean?
Oh, trust me, I know. So there is, because I know we're getting close to time, there is one more scrim I want us to touch on and talk about a little bit. And that is Nemesis playing Optic right now.
Huge.
And Nemesis is the #1 team out of Europe. It's Wutum, Glory, SLG, Snipe Drone. #1 team out of Europe. They've won everything. And they're boot camping in Texas starting today. So they're actually here on US soil in doing this scrim, Texas versus Texas. And they're currently down, what is this? 6-2 against Optic.
I mean, they're taking games already. My thoughts are, man, coming out 2 weeks early. I think I touched on it before, but that speaks to their mindset. Like, they're not messing around for Arlington. They're trying to get the best practice humanly possible. I think Nemesis was obviously by far the best EU team heading into Arlington, hence the fact that they've won everything out. But I think that they will improve exponentially over the next 2 weeks, like presuming they are able to keep this caliber and quality of scrim going every day for 2 weeks. Like, they will go into Arlington, they will have their sleep schedules adjusted and their bodies and everything will be synced up for being on the different time zone, which is so much more important than people realize, especially as you get older. B, they will have gotten a chance to touch and feel a lot of these NA opponents and get a feel for the way the game works, because for so long for EU Halo, they could be the best in the region. They don't get out here early. They come to an event and it's just a shell shock. It's just so different than what they're used to. So to kind of get into the NA ecosystem a bit, get in the mix there and play these teams, I think benefits them so much, man. And I mean, this team has a ridiculous amount of potential talent. They took all the young psychos out of EU, minus like maybe Mighties or something, and put them on a squad together. So you have like Glory, who was like, big breakout in Infinite. Wutum, obviously best mouse and keyboard player in the world. Snipe Drone, who has just been a tried and true monster for that region. He literally is EU Snipe Down, like, and that's just a fact. And then SLG, again, insane talent, insane leadership. Like, it's a really well put together roster, and that's the team I'm really interested to watch come Arlington to see where they'll be at.
Yeah, I'm very excited for when we have our show next week and we have a whole week of their scrims in North America to look at, and then we can kind of make our predictions for pool play based on that, because it's
is it already next week? Is it already prediction week coming up here pretty soon?
Event is a week from this Friday, so we're in the home stretch here.
Yeah, next episode, you guys aren't going to want to miss that one. Is going to be prediction time, which that'll be fun. We got to get like a graphic up, where it's like mine and yours, and mine will look so much better than yours. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, but then mine will be more accurate come after the event.
Then I'm going to just be paying you for all the bets that I'm losing.
So, you touched on something earlier, and I was thinking about this going into this show. I don't know who I was talking to, but you were talking about how on SSG, like any player in that scrim, the SSG versus Optic scrim, any player in that scrim could be like argued as like one of the best players, if not the best player in the game, right?
No, the best player, not one of the best, like the best. Like, you can tell me this person is the best, I'll say yes, that kind of thing.
I have opinion on
go for
it. Not including complexity players in this conversation, obviously, because I believe in all of my players 100%. Tremendously. So not including them, I have an opinion on who the best player in the game is, and it's not a single person who is in that lobby.
Real? Okay.
And I'm very confident in this opinion.
I mean, if you jock my pick, we're gonna have issues right now because if you pick who I think it, because I would also say the same, that my personal at the moment pick for best player in the game wouldn't have been in that lobby, but it teeters day to day. But go ahead, let me hear what you got.
I think, again, excluding complexity players, I think the current best player in Halo Infinite is Last Shot.
Yeah.
We're on the same page?
Yeah.
Okay. I've watched a lot of his stream because he's doing a great job of streaming and then also streaming scrims and creating content for the community. And when I watch his POV, especially when he has comms on, but even not, the way he plays is so good. It's just so rock solid. Like, he can be the OBJ player. He's constantly looking at the scoreboard and talking about, like, calming to his team, like, all right, 1's up, 2's up, okay, we can push this now, okay, we're spawning them here, I just killed this guy. Like, he's thinking chess, not checkers. He's shooting straighter than almost every single other player in the game consistently. Like, he's having the stellar pop-off games, but consistently. And I think he is, I would say, the number one reason why Shopify is as good as it is right now, as good as they are right now.
I could sum it up for you in literally 2 words: high impact.
Yeah.
Everything he does on the map, every life he comes off spawn, he's having max impact on the overall way the game is going to go. To the point where it's like, because I've played him so much in matchmaking and it's the most frustrating thing you could ever do. It's like, as soon as he goes down, whether it's like you cleaned him up, you caught him weak, you finally double teamed him, you killed him. As soon as he goes down, it feels like, okay, I can breathe for a second. Like, let me finally be able to like do something here.
Yeah.
And then it's like 8 seconds later, I'm like, okay, I got Last Shot's back up. We got to worry about what shenanigans he's going to be getting into now on the map. It's going to be, you know what I mean? So I would 100% agree with you. And I would not be shocked to see Shopify take Arlington. I know we say it all the time where it's like, they're young, you know, they got 2 players that haven't won a LAN. Like, we'll see if they're able to kind of put it together. But the way they've been playing is insane. And I'll close with this story. It's something that I haven't talked about on a stream yet. It's not something that I have wanted to broadcast out there. But one of the last tournaments I competed in, it was myself, Gunplexion, Straight Sick, and Persecute. Pretty solid squad, you know, lots of talent. It was a lot of fun. Love those guys. We actually played Last Shot's team prior to him being on Pure. The last open team he was on before he joined Pure, we played them in open, one of the later rounds in the tournament. And we beat them game 1. I forgot what the score was. And then they beat us game 2 in the Slayer. And then game 3 came down to Aqua Flag. And we were up 3-0 with 2 minutes to go. And Last Shot just started world starring all of us. We literally lost 4-3 in that game, being up 3 to get knocked out of the tournament, to be over. Had no idea who he was, but knew after that series, like, saw the scoreboard and was like, whoever that, whatever HCS random name with the numbers is right there, that was like plus 20 while none of his other teammates were positive. It was like, okay, you know what I mean? And then I just started following him from then. And the ascension was literally like just the fastest thing you've ever seen. He went from like being open, getting top 32 to like top 6. Now first seed going into the first, like within a year, you know, a year and a half. So his ascension's been incredible to watch, but also so justified with like how much of an impact he has on the map. Like, we literally, it felt like we couldn't make a right play. Like, he made all the right reads. He did everything he needed to do to win his team that series. And yeah, he's had my respect ever since, for sure.
And you can see him growing with each team and the experience that comes with that team. Like, you could see him up his pace on the map after playing with Pure for so long and like matching that kind of fast-paced play style that Druck has and that Cherished has and that who was their fourth? Pollock. He's matching that pace and he's getting faster on the map and he's making quicker decisions. And now he's playing with, you know, Royal 2 and Frosty, world champion, multiple time world champions. And he's like learning how to control the map now. And he's learning how to like, okay, here's where I take my foot off the gas. Okay, here's where I slam my foot on the gas. Okay, here's where I need to hold the objective. Okay, here's where I'm picking up sniper and playing for this and letting them have the objective. Like, he is doing so many things right and he's growing so quickly that he is I think that if players are up and coming, if you're an up and coming amateur, watch his stream because you will learn a lot of really good habits from how he plays the game.
He's also, and this is super huge, like a lot more important than people realize. He is, in my opinion, he is like the next face of the league.
Yeah.
He's super charismatic. He's really funny. He's really nice. Got a great smile. Is always laughing, having a good time. He enjoys playing the game. He's like the perfect poster child for HCS. He's also proof that the process works. Like he cut his teeth playing free for alls, won a free for all championship, and that was what got eyes on him. That led to him getting picked up by pure. Like he is literally like, you couldn't ask for a better player to show like a good roadmap for how to be successful and come from nothing to now, like I said, being a number one seed going into a major. So like, I don't have enough good things to say about him. There's not like there's not one critique that I have of the guy, in and out of the game. Just like a solid. You love to see like someone like that come around. And we're like, yeah, like the Halo scene is gonna be in good hands, right? Because for the longest time we're just getting older. We're just getting older and older and older. Like where's the next one that's like going to take the mantle? And I see a lot of that in him for sure.
That being said, 49-49 Game 5 Slayer. I'm putting my money on any of my boys to sit him down. That is it for this week's opening break. We hope you guys enjoyed. Hunter, let them know where they can find you.
Hunter JJX on most socials. Justin UTW on Instagram. That's the only one that's different. But streaming every day. Next big stream, either tomorrow or Thursday, depending on my health. Like I said, it's going to be our subathon, 1,000 days without cussing on stream. Can't wait for that stream. So hopefully you guys will tune into that. Obviously, we need all you guys' help, right? Arlington is next week. Like, need you guys to show up and show out rep Complexity. Make sure you guys are subbing to the channels that got the Complexity emotes, and we're drawn from you guys' energy. It's going to be awesome to be somewhat hometown. Obviously it's the Optic home event, but also we're from Texas as well, so cannot wait for that event. Really appreciate you guys' support. But yeah, 100 JJX on everything. I stream every day, just trying to bring the vibes.
All right, you heard him. Go check him out. Go give him a follow. Show him some love. And if you're not already following, make sure you're following the Complexity socials. My name is Die Ashes. You can find me at the Complexity booth at HCS Arlington, because we will be having a booth there. So I hope to see you guys there. It's going to be a good time. Until next Tuesday at 4 p.m. Central, where we do our predictions. That's all for now. We'll see you all next week.